through my head the things I wanna say.
What's good, y'all? It's your good sis Erica Vane back again with another Grownish video. And in this video, we are breaking down episode 7. Let's get into it. Alright, y'all. So in episode 7, we are back into the swing of things of daily life for Zoey. The past 2 episodes, we spent a lot of time talking about social injustice, racial injustice, oppression, and how those things were playing out in today's media, and then how our favorite students at Cal U are responding to it. We had very tough conversations around allyship, around blackness, and I absolutely loved it. And in this episode, we are switching gears a bit to talk more so about Zoey and her experience with her internships. And I really enjoyed the balance that they're providing. So while we are tackling tough, sometimes volatile, controversial subjects in reference to speaking on blackness and allyship and racial and social injustices, we're also jumping now into a conversation around Zoey operating in this space in which she is confronted with the idea that her boss is stealing her intellectual property. And that is something that I don't think we've seen a lot. I've maybe once seen it, I think in the original Gossip Girl. When I used to watch that, I believe Blair had some kind of similar situation, but we don't get to see this very often. And I thought that it was cool that they actually had a very thorough conversation throughout the episode. Zoe's going back and forth about whether she is going to give her boss Esme, this fashion designer, this very popular fashion designer, the opportunity to apologize and fess up to it, or if she is going to confront her. Ultimately, Zoey decides not to confront her because she is focused on just being a great intern and knowing deep down in her heart and her soul, okay, I probably inspired this jacket, or I inspired this train of thought. And it's a little bit more complicated and nuanced than simply, oh, Esme stole from Zoey, because part of the conversation that comes out is, and initially, the first thing that Esme, and this is air quotes, the first thing that Esme stole from Zoey was a conversation around reparations for white creatives appropriating the culture, or appropriating, in this case there was an example of fashion trend that Esme had started 3 years prior, and now a white male fashion designer was getting very, very popular over something that she had already done, and they have basically just repeated, and he didn't give credit to her. So during that conversation, Zoe's like, dang, it sucks that, our culture is constantly being appropriated, and there needs to be reparations if people really believe that this was a problem and they really wanted to support the cause. And they have a full-on conversation around that, and then the next day Zoey sees that Esme has done an article or done an interview, and it's turned into an article where she points out those similar points. But what makes it not so simple is that a lot of the points that Zoey actually conveyed to Esme were points that Aaron conveyed to her. And we know that this season we've seen Zoey become a lot more woke. We've seen Zoey become a lot more conscious, and I think that her relationship with Aaron has something to do with that, because he is definitely the group's resident activist who is all down to fight for the cause and is very, very studious about all things history, about all things inequality, social injustice, and racial injustices. So that was what makes it a little bit more complicated, because as Aaron points out, like, you appropriated this conversation from me, and then maybe Esme appropriated it from you. And that also puts things into perspective for Zoey, which I think also pushes her to not necessarily push back or not necessarily come forward. Now, I would love for y'all to take a second and let me know what you think. Do you think that Zoey should have confronted her boss about the jacket or about the conversation? Because I'm kind of torn. I think it sets us up for the next episode and the conflict that's going to come between Luca and Zoey, because dun dun dun, though Zoey decides not to actually confront her boss, Luca takes it upon himself to actually out everything on social media and pull her boss as well as Zoey to the table of like, look, doesn't this look familiar? And he actually tweets out the jacket and shows the similarities, and then the episode kind of ends there. I think that's a little bit nuanced, because part of me is like, okay, so even when you think about it, like, Zoey was drafting this jacket while she was doing her internship hours. So she was working. I don't know if that notepad was owned by the internship. We don't even know if like what Zoe's actual job is within the internship. So we don't know if she's only supposed to be doing errands or getting coffee, or is she allowed to draft up things. And then if that's the case, if she's a part of like the conceptual team, or if her ideas are something that can be considered, then it wouldn't necessarily be a thing. Now, should she get credit for it? 100%. But it wouldn't necessarily be a thing of, oh, she stole it because she drafted this thing on company materials during company time at the company facility. So there's all this stuff that's like set up to kind of be like, okay, well, was this part of your job? So then that kind of has to go back to Zoe's job description and what she knows her role is within the company. And we kind of see the group talk about this when they're helping Zoe debate on whether she should actually confront her boss or if she should just let it go. I definitely could see more so, not necessarily with the jacket, but I definitely could see more so when they had the conversation and Zoe felt the way. That seemed a little bit more blatant like stealing to me, just because she hadn't communicated any of those things prior to Zoe actually saying that, and that is what actually made her lean in a little bit more once Zoe started to speak about reparations and appropriations and put these things into a very intellectual way of communicating these thoughts behind what was happening to a lot of designers, not only Esme, but a lot of designers of color. And the way that Zoe strung those words together and for those to be repeated exactly, that to me felt a little bit more like stealing. But again, I want y'all to let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? I feel like in this episode, we didn't even get a real understanding of what the outcome is going to be. So that makes me lean towards next week's episode will definitely communicate, was this right or wrong? Did Esme steal or not? Like, what is actually happening here? Because we kind of just get left on the cliffhanger of Luca outing everything and Zoe kind of like relegating herself to like, you know what, I'm not going to say something even though I probably could. And as a B story for this episode, we saw Aaron take his first class and he definitely got into hot water. He is a student helper, a student teacher while he's in grad school. He is supporting additional professors with their coursework, and now he's getting away from just grading papers and just supporting administratively to being able to support and actually teach classes. And child, his first class does not necessarily go well. The students are very much so distracted, and he is so overly excited, overly eager to keep them engaged that he winds up stripping down, which ultimately gets him booted from that class, and then he ends up right back where he started, and where we see them in the class where we saw Zoe, the twins, Nomi, Vivek, and Aaron and Luca meet in season 1. Such a cute full circle moment. But anyway, y'all, that is my breakdown of Grownish season 4, episode 7. Let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my Grownish uploads. I post new entertainment videos every day breaking down the hottest television and films. If you are new here, go on ahead, hit the subscribe button and join the tribe. I promise you are going to love it here. Be sure to like the video because you made it all the way to the end, so I know you liked it. And if you missed any of my Grownish videos, I have my Grownish playlist link for you right here on screen, as well as 2 additional options for you to check out for new series. It's your girl Erica Vane, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!